What if we could transform how we live? So that the way we live regenerates life. To do that, we need to take steps that are so tiny as to be irresistibly easy. Continuous, incremental, iterative improvements compound into great change. I'm experimenting with what everyday regenerative action could look like throughout the seasons.
I'm Elisa Rathje at Apple Chernobyl. And this is the Journal of Small Work. How can we rapidly reduce what we require just to live well? One framework we can use is the idea of appropriate technology. Let's let the pulley error illustrate how this could work. Tools like this fit beautifully into an ecological economy. They embody what enough looks like.
Appropriate technology often reclaims tools that were relegated as more or less obsolete by the extractive economy. Less room is needed in our dwellings when we make use of space up at the ceiling, and at the same time, we can make better use of heat that's risen. This is also a great example of stacking functions. Since the drying rack is quiet, drying laundry can share our space. Just hanging laundry requires no electricity, which we will increasingly need to conserve as we transition. Appropriate technology gives us a lens of holistic efficiency in service of reduced energy and material use, supporting and protecting a thriving web of life. While it demands physical labor, our bodies generally need more of that and take pleasure in it. The pulley error neatly sidesteps the planned obsolescence that produces so much waste in the dominant economy. Hanging laundry is a simple way to reduce the problem of microplastics blown into the air. Repairs are easily made, parts easily, inexpensively, and even locally sourced. It's slow work, but it's meditative. Our nervous systems need this too. There are tried and true tools with the longevity to see us through generations. These could be our allies in gracefully embracing profound change. Appropriate technology empowers us to intentionally choose graceful energy descent through implementing good design. If it uses fossil fuel, Can we do it with electricity? If it uses electricity, can we do it with hand tools? Or the sun? If it demands physical labor, can we swap it with happy animal and plant systems? Appropriate technology is a good friend of the framework of downshifting. We can see a strong family resemblance between downshifting and lots of contemporary movements. Downshifting prepares us to adapt more nimbly to ecological instability, as well as preparing us to live in a new economy, one that requires less energy and materials, premised on supporting a thriving, diverse biosphere. Downshifting into slow living embraces a steady state of sufficiency, of intentionally choosing less, which for so many surprising reasons is more. When we choose to meet our needs simply, it's like a retelling of the story of who we are and what a good life looks like. When we try living this way and we like it, it helps us to ask questions like, what if we had sufficient public commons, a universal share in living wages, education, healthcare, gardens and common land, clean water, shared transportation and pathways, accessible housing, even atmospheric commons? How many people would have time to slow down and take good care of essentials, of fundamental parts of life? Isn't that what an economy should be for? When we reclaim skills and use more appropriate tools, we live the change that we want to see in the world. What I mean by that is this: we can live a different pattern than that of supremacy. We recognize the pattern historically in ideas of owning land and labor, of domination, extraction. The pattern follows a concept of the mind as separate and superior to the body. It repeats as clearly in the pursuit of convenience and perpetual accumulation as it does in the expression of humanity using nature. We can turn instead to a pattern of profound interconnectedness and express it in all the small work of living. Just practicing living simply gives us a vivid image of what the world could be. Downshifting shifts our communities back to producer societies, relocalizing the steps to meet a need. This is one way to culture a shift that could catalyze the political will to transform our economy into an ecologically embedded one. When we take up the work in our own hands, we disrupt the narrative that a good life is one that escapes labor. We can pull that old story up by the roots to find it grows from hierarchies and polarizations that repeat in patterns from the mind-body split to the human-dominating nature. Contentment with enough, in a word, sufficiency, confounds the aspiration to dominate that underlies an economy premised on unlimited growth. Downshifting movements offer a living critique, practicing other visions of who we are within the biosphere. As we choose smaller, slower, more appropriate solutions, we sow the seeds of a just, regenerative economy.